Gen Z is very different than what we are. Parenting is very tough now. It appears more tougher than ever.
That would not make them, successful in life. So, education is so expensive. If you don't know parenting, there is no harm taking help.
Notion of marriage is failing.
She wanted to be away from her parents.
Both of you working and both of you coming tired and not looking at your child. So parents क्या करें?
Complain that nowadays my child is not listening. We try to make them job ready, so we forget to make them life ready.
Hello everyone. Nirupama Khare is back with her next episode and a podcast which is very different and unique. So in me, as I always say, is all about what is inside me, inside within us. In me is a sound. In me is an energy. In me is everything to do what you have gone through. And every guest coming to my podcast is talking about their transformative journey. And when they talk about their transformative journey, I'm sure it would absolutely echo with you too, as to you are also going some part of it. So let's welcome our new guest and the 12th episode of In Me, that is Anjali Singh. Welcome, Anjali.
Thank you, Nirupma.
So Anjali has been, as we are about to talk about Anjali, it's a long list. I have to talk about many accolades, many awards, and many things Anjali has done. So I'll just give a brief, Anjali, and I'm sure you have more to speak about. So Anjali is a student well-being and a clarity coach. She has been a career counselor, and more than that, she is also the founder of Paramarsh AS. Being a daughter, wife, mother, she has seen all the roles. And what's more important is the kind of her experience, 25 years of her spanning experience in HR, counseling, social work, education. She has built it all. The best thing is from corporate boardrooms to classrooms. She has worked across diverse spaces, blending professional expertise with human connections to create meaningful growth for learners, families, and educators. This is where I will stop because, you know, it is quite diverse, Anjali. So my
Yes.
first question to you is, how did Paramarsh happen to you?
Okay. Thank you, Nirupma, for that generous introduction. And I'm happy to be here and looking forward to our conversation. And how did Paramash happen? So, I would say Paramash did not happen, it never came to me as a business idea. It is the outcome of my lived experience, how I have experienced my learnings, starting from childhood, early childhood to my, adulthood, and then working professional, working as HR professional in corporate world, and then marriage, and then relocation, and then motherhood teaches you a lot. so at every stage, whatever my learning has been, and that one thing that I always came to my mind, that somebody would have told me this earlier, or somebody would have taught me this earlier. That is what I want with my experience. I want, with my learnings, I want others to get the benefit. And Paramarsh means guidance. And I basically help people help themselves.
Wow, this is so profound. Help people help themselves. So, what is in you that makes you unique? In me is all about this. So, what is it that makes Anjali unique?
Okay, that's a beautiful question, and Nirupma. Whenever I'm having, self discovery session with students for clarity, I generally ask who you are.
Wow.
So they answer this with, the labels. Mostly a student would say, I'm from this class, this section also they would mention. And like, I belong to this city, this country. So if I ask them who you are, it is really difficult for them to answer for most of us, because it needs a lot of reflection. And I'm really happy that you talk about this, because that helps us reflect a lot.
True.
So what makes me unique is, I would say, is a mix of what I was born with, and how like my learnings, and how life has taught me, and what has transformed within me. So I was born introverted, curious, creative, and very shy a child. And I did not realize that, but later on, I understood that these could be my strength. So, listening to others, when you are sitting alone, quiet, you reflect a lot, and you observe a lot. So that made me empathetic. And so, yes, so that is what I was born with, I would say. And that makes me unique.
Okay.
And then your family, your school, your workplace, your friends, and every transition teaches you. So, I have, since my father was in a transferable job, I have been to a school in a rural area also, and then to city. And then after my college, moving to Delhi University, going to Delhi School of Economics, and then having my friends from, all over India. So all those experiences help me understand people, and I'm able to connect with people and able to relate. It comes to me naturally. I'm very easily able to put myself in others shoes,
Mm.
and that is what makes me me, I
Wow.
feel.
And what I'll pick up from your this discussion is, and see, your childhood time also, your observations were high, as you said, and then as you moved on the journey, your empathy quotient, that piece was very high. So how do you see empathy as a trait amongst students and parents?
Okay. That's a good question. Why I would say empathy is being overused these days, because we find absence of that.
Mm,
So that is the reason we have to teach empathy to students, because most of our focus is on academics,
yes.
and we are so marks and result oriented,
Yeah.
especially here in India, that we our focus is not there on uh, social learnings. So that is what makes you not understand others point of view. So that is why, these days, when in a technology driven world, when most of the students, and we have to spend time on social media and technology, so it is it has become very important to teach empathy. So
Mm.
that is the reason we hear about a lot.
True. And you rightly touched upon the social media piece, because earlier, calling up somebody or going to their house and saying happy birthday was the way we worked it out. Or rather, हम लोग के टाइम पे तो happy birthday उतने मनाए भी नहीं जाते थे. But now
Mhm.
when you look at it, people will just put a WhatsApp message and then we don't connect. कि
Right.
लगता है विश कर दिया है.
Hmm.
And when you say empathy, we have to teach empathy. That's where the whole problem is, as I look at it, because these things were so natural to us to understand what a human being is going through. But yes,
Mhm.
okay, let's understand that we have to teach empathy. But the point is, students come up with many problems,
Right.
and along with students, parents have a list of problems along with them also. And
Mhm.
parenting is very tough now. It appears more tougher than ever. So,
Absolutely.
so when you look at the challenges, so what is one challenge students come across very often?
So I would say, Nirupama, I have experienced challenges of students are different for different stage.
Okay, I think that's a
So
wonderful way to look at it.
yes, so in early childhood, I would say a lot of comparison,
Mm,
over scheduling, because parents are also busy, so they want their children to be busy somewhere, so that they get free time to do their work.
mm,
So overscheduling and comparison
oh,
is the issue what I have experienced in pre-teens. I would say, since the children are grown up now and they start going to regular school, and they have this because they are having so many assignments on mobile, and so they have to have a device, and it's there in their hand. So that parents want to control, and they want the freedom, so that power struggle is there. And
well said.
with teens there are lot many issues. They start having those hormonal issues, which they are not taught why they are behaving, how they are behaving, why it is happening. So we don't talk about it. And then they have academic pressure, parental expectations, so much distraction, and lot many activities, and it's always result oriented. They have that pressure. So teens have different issues, and when young adults, like they are going to join college, again there is pressure, lot of distraction, I would say. And also because parents have, and the institutions also have focused so much on academics,
Yeah.
and we try to make them job ready,
Mm.
so we forget to make them life ready.
Wow.
So
This is
when they
profound.
yeah. So because why I where I when my son was going to join college, I was interacting with his friends. I also conducted workshop for some of those students. They were clueless how to manage their laundry, how to manage their money, how to manage their clean their room, the basic thing
Mm.
they didn't know. And the parents feel that my child is studying for long hours, that
Yeah.
is going to give good result, so maybe they'll get good result and get admission in a good college, but then that would not make them successful in life. So that is the problem of every stage of students.
Wow, I think you absolutely categorized it so well, And
I
coming back to especially,
but
yeah, go ahead.
One thing I would like to say, Nirupama, why I am able to say this, because I work for the students 2 to 24 years.
Oh,
So
yes,
starting from early childhood to young adulthood.
there you are.
So that is the reason I understand their problem. And for for early years, foundation year, I interact with the parents and also teachers,
Mm,
because they are the pillars of a child's initial foundation year.
mm,
And then also for preteens, I do preventive mental health, because I realized by the time they reach teens age, there are so many issues. Parents say that my child doesn't talk to me. Children say that a teenager would say that my parents fail to understand me, so there is communication gap, I would say. not exactly communication, like, connection is not there. They don't, connect with each other. And so I started working on preventive mental health. So by the time they reach teenage, they are able to understand what they are feeling, why they are feeling the way they are feeling, and when they are feeling overwhelmed, what to do, how to manage their emotions. So yeah, so that is the reason I'm able to understand and I'm able to relate, each stage.
Wonderful. Anjali, this is so important. You talked about empathy in the earlier question. You talked about the connect piece, which is not happening. And then we are talking about people, parents not understanding their children, and children feel that, you know, there is a disconnect here. I also see that the Gen Z is very different than what we are, and it is tough to understand them. Now, how do we bridge it? So, these are challenges. You spoke about students. Let's look at parents. What challenges do you foresee there?
Okay, so parents are facing a lot many challenges, I would say, because generally we are never taught parenting. It's on the job. We learned on the job. And parents are, you know, trying to raise their children the way they were raised. But the things have changed. The environment had changed. At our time, I'll just give you one example. Because there was no social media, there was no source of entertainment. Even in my time, in initial years, I don't remember I was having a TV at home. So we used to go and play outside. So it came naturally, the physical activity. But now the parents have to push the children for them, for those activities. So why the parents are facing challenges, the environment had changed, the parents are so busy, education is so expensive that parents are working hard to, send their child to, a good academic institution. And uh, everybody is stressed, everybody is rushing. And also earlier we had, our family now is nuclear, a joint family. They had the support system for for everything. If the parents are working, they are going out, the grandparents can take care of the child. Now they have to make their own support system. So there are so many challenges, and for working parents, I would say, Nirupama, I was taking a employee well-being session, and the parents half of the time who are working, they are worried about their children, what they are doing at home, how to keep them busy, how to send them for after school activities, and is my child is in good company. So all those things are, making them worried. They want everything good for their child, but somehow they are not able to manage. For teenagers, there are so many changes, new age careers. They are still focusing on, the traditional ones, doctor, engineer, civil servants, and there is a conflict. So I would say parents are having difficult time, but now at our time, we didn't have much option, and now there are options available. They can seek help, they can seek guidance. And I always tell them, if, like, suppose you don't know mathematics, so you take tuition, you send your child for, a person who is expert in that. So
Yeah,
if you don't know parenting, there is no harm taking help from the person who knows about it and who can guide you.
true. So, what comes to my mind, Anjali, is while parents have list of challenges themselves because both of them are working, most of them, and in a nuclear family, and kids are also having their sets of challenges. One thing is common: while worrying is there, they are worried, but they are unavailable. They are not available
Absolutely.
to their
Mm-hmm.
kids. And see, it is our experience also. If I have to look back, we didn't have 6 months of pregnancy leave, then. It was only 3 months. So leaving my son from one creche to another, and at that point of time, 2003, 2004, Gurgaon didn't have that kind of creche also. So
Mm-hmm.
one creche to another, to third, to fourth, and to work, because there are so many things, because everybody has a different set of challenges and bills to pay. Fine.
Definitely.
Now, unavailability is there. So, as you said, we're not available for our kids. Our grandparents are not staying, so grandparents are not with them. And there are challenges of social media, which is gamings and so many things, which is actually, engulfing our kids in various ways. So, parents क्या
Absolutely.
क्या करें, है ना, वो भी, they are like what to do. Now,
Mm-hmm.
between this juggle and this tug of war, what is it that can make things better? Where can we bridge the gap?
Mm-hmm.
At
Mm-hmm.
least few things which we can bridge it out.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts there?
Okay, so Nirupma, I would say these days, you know, even it's not only the absence, it's more of connection, what I am seeing,
Mm.
because even full-time moms,
Okay.
if it was only related to time, then full-time moms would not, having any difficulty. But even the full-time moms are having problem because they are not equipped, they are not aware of the different developmental stage of the child.
Okay.
So once a suppose, like, a child reaches 13, 14 years of age, the parents still want to control,
Uh,
and they don't, most of them, they fail to understand, because when they come to me for counseling session, they don't come that, that they don't come up with this idea that they want, the growth and overall development of the child, or they want their child to have social emotional learning and mental regulation. They come up with a complaint that nowadays my child is not listening. He's most of the time spending time with friends, and most of the time he is on social media, locked inside the room. So it is very important, like, whatever time you have, you try to connect with your child. बहुत, like, mostly what we do while interacting with your child starts saying, and you come up with the, your conclusion, your judgment, because you don't have much time. So and many times what happens, your child just wants to be there, they want you to listen to them, understand. Like, just take one example. When a working parent enters the house, they are talking to somebody over the phone, and then they would want, expect everybody to understand that it is very important, I am on important call. But the same thing, if the child is doing, they, they school, they may get scoldings that you are on the phone. So for them, that is important. For you, if your work is important, for them, that whatever they are doing, that is
doing is
also
important.
important. So teaching them how to use social media is important, what they are feeling, how they are behaving, or how they are showing anger or tantrum. That's the symptom. There is something
Mm.
else that is bothering. Maybe the child is not able to manage the overwhelm or emotion, and because of which the parents, feel that the child is behaving badly, and the child is labeled. So
Mm.
I would say the solution is, whatever time you have available, just listen to your child uninterrupted, be connected, be there, and don't try to control, don't overprotect them, and let them, explore, be there, be like a GPS. Just
Uh,
don't try to be a driver, let them drive, and just be there to guide your children.
mm. I
So
think while you say this, that you know be there, guide them. We also need to pick up one more challenge. This we are talking about where parents are busy, but still there's a healthy relationship between husband and wife. And then you have series of these issues with the children, which is common. Now, considering that divorces are going very high, parenting becomes 100 and 1,000 times more difficult. And look
Absolutely.
at that baby. It could be a teenager or that little 7 year or a 6 year child who is insecure right then and there.
Absolutely.
So it is a tough time parents as well as kids are going through.
Definitely.
So don't you think we need something which some solution तो single नहीं होगा, but is there some recipe, if that's the right word to use, कि क्या करें कि बच्चे देखो अगर पैदा कर दिया, this is how I look, it's a project of 25 years at least in India. ठीक है ना? एटलीस्ट 20 साल का तो प्रोजेक्ट है. You now cannot get away with it. Whether you're separating or you're not separating, the project is now open. It cannot get closed. Something has to be done here. So I know this question is slightly different, and we're not talking about divorces out here, how we are going to sort that out. But the point is, it's very complex. Child
Yes.
development has become complex. What do you say here?
Yes, it is. It is complex, and I also see, like, how children get impacted by the home environment.
Hmm.
Nowadays, people are working, they want independence. So, and both working parents, they want the responsibility. It's not only the mother who is responsible. So, we need to be more understanding. And yes, divorces are, like, now very common. Like, the rate of divorce has gone up, and students are having tough time, I would say. I remember two children who came to me for counseling session. They One wanted to be a pilot, and when I started, I took psychometric test, and it was not there in her strength or personality or interest area. When I talked to her, then it was like, she wanted to do it because she wanted to be away from her parents. So how, you said that this is complicated, how it impacts the home environment. But yes, I would say that it is very important to have this separation, in a way that it doesn't become bitter, if possible, because that leaves an impact on the child. So, and making the child understand that it is okay. Now we are there for you, and you are not the only person who is having this is like the we teach other things. Similarly, we can take, for example, we do not teach our children about war, but the children who are seeing it, they see in the news. So we have to make them understand what war is, why it happens. So similarly, what divorce is, why it happens. So make the child understand. If you try to hide things, and if you just keep fighting and shouting, so that is not important. You make the child understand. And it's not that they don't understand, they can understand. So we can just try that. And every child is different. Someone can, some child is very sensitive, they take more time to understand, and some of them are like, it's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So there is no recipe as such. I would say we can just try making them understand the unpleasant
Fine.
situations in our
Yeah.
life.
My see here. I'll again go back. We're talking of parents who are normal or the healthy relationship is there, and still they have challenges of parenting, because there's a list of challenges kids are going through, the students are going through. The second piece is where the relationship is not great and still they're managing kids. The third piece I see is where relationship gets impacted because the child is autistic or dyslexic or special child, with so many complications, I'm sure it become counseling must be very tough for you. Counseling it must be very complicated too.
Uh, the basic thing in counseling is what I said. I help them help themselves. So
Hmm.
I don't have to give the solution because everyone has a different environment. Every child is different. Every parent is different. So, yeah, I try to, help them reflect and come up with solutions. And
True.
if the solution comes, from them, it is more acceptable to them.
Hmm. Yes, it is. uh, Ultimately it leads me to one question, um, the tradition, or let's say the institution of marriage, is failing. The standard way, the conventional way of curriculum and studying in colleges and universities and schools, even, that is also failing. Failing in the sense, maybe the word is, it needs a change. I may not say failing, it needs a change. And you see that many college going students and marriage age uh, children, I won't say adults, don't want to get married also.
Mhm.
Fine, they're saying one, many reasons they would put it up, but look at the way we have been evolving, from last 3 decades. If you see, the changes are immense in
Mhm.
relationship, in the way we are evolving. And it definitely, every listener who is listening to us, please understand, it's not important to do something the way we have been doing it since years together. So that piece is
Absolutely.
very critical. And somewhere, um, the understanding that
Mhm.
kids have challenges and it's very different from what we have gone through, that understanding the parents have to get it right.
Mhm.
Their
Mhm.
peer pressure, their way of life, their social media, everything is impacting them a lot. So, listening to you, there's another piece which I would like to connect, because the word connect is coming very strongly to us. So, post COVID, and during COVID and post COVID, do you see there's an impact to the development of children? Are those kids different?
Okay, so that's a pertinent question, Nirupama. Since I work with foundation years, teachers, and parents and children,
Mm,
the number of neurodiverse children
mm,
has increased.
okay.
And when we are interacting with parents of foundation year, so if you try to make them understand that your child has learning disability or is hyperactive or is under autism spectrum,
Mhm,
so they find it difficult to accept it. And they when they talk to their elders, and most of the time they are told, some if there is issue with the speech,
mm,
the parents would say, no, no, his father also started speaking very late. So they are in denial mode where they fail to understand, with early interventions we can help the child, we can help the parents. So I would suggest that the parents must keep an eye, interact with the teachers when teacher is giving you feedback. I would also tell the teachers to be observant,
mm,
not try to just rush to finish the syllabus, but these are small points which can make a difference. Communicate it to the parents,
mm,
and you should start the parents should start working on these. There are options available. There are expert who can help your child with these these things. So acceptance and being observant and seeking solution
Mm.
is the thing which is required, and that is going to help the child and parents. They would be able to understand why the child is behaving. Suppose the child is going to a shopping mall, and suppose the child is not sitting. If you are asking the child to sit at one place, the hyperactive child would not sit at one place. Okay, so instead of labeling the child that the child is bad behaved, try to understand, try to focus on their nutrition, take help, because there are certain things which make them even more hyper. So these things, they even the teachers need to understand that they learn differently.
Mm.
So you have to make them the parents also understand. So there are lot many things post covid students, children and teachers are facing, and lot many things are happening in 2025. Has been a transformative year, I would say, because new education policy is has come up, and they are trying to focus on holistic development, where we focus not only on academics but their physical aspect, their social emotional learning, their creativity and everything. But how we implement it, that becomes a challenge. But lot many things are happening, and people are becoming aware. Institutions are also working in this direction, and inclusiveness is also important. So they are asked to also work on neurodiverse children. So parents earlier had to send those children to special school, but now those schools are being asked, so that when they grow, when they become adults, they are accepted in the society.
Yeah, I
So
think that's
lot
a
many
good
things are
point. Yeah.
lot many things are happening, and
Mm.
parents need to accept it and seek help.
Wow. So, listening to you, I can recall my sister. She is a teacher, and
Mm-hmm,
she takes care of those KG class, the toddler group.
mm-hmm,
And she
mm-hmm,
says one feedback which I hear from her very commonly is that autistic child, when we tell parents that the child is autistic and needs special care,
mm-hmm.
and especially this child cannot be handled in a normal environment, it becomes difficult for the parents to accept, and they don't say, okay, we'll change the school or something. But you are talking about inclusiveness. Now, there is a challenge out here for teachers also to manage, so we need
Absolutely.
teachers who can handle such
Mm-hmm,
children.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
definitely a big reform has to come, a revolution has to come in terms of how schools should have, what could be a mandatory function or a department coming up, wherein these kids are being part of the normal environment, and still have one or two classes which are specifically catering to their needs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Or there could be some sessions for them, and how teachers have to be upgraded to understand. And I'm sure a lot of effort has been put by academic institutions to upgrade teachers also.
Yes, lot many things are happening, and teachers are training. You getting trained, and in early years, I would say, if the teacher is giving this feedback that your child, they are labeling the child, it is always better to tell the parents the symptoms, and they can seek help from the experts, the medical experts, and all, who can guide them. Why they are saying this.
Yes.
And I would say why teachers feel the pressure, because they have to finish the syllabus,
Mm.
and mostly assessments are result oriented.
Yes,
So
it's
I
another.
feel that we need to have, and lot many things are happening. We are trying to change the assessment system also, where you a neurodiverse child is not compared. In fact, even in neuronormal child, every child is different. They learn at different pace. So
True.
allow them to learn them at their pace. Do not rush, and do not try to push them for the result, and to try to push them for to finish the syllabus. So
Mhm.
if this assessment process, gets modified, where a child is compared what he or she was 3 months back, so that would
Be a
reduce
better
the
benchmark.
pressure
Yeah.
on the teacher.
True, true, true. I think comparing them to themselves is much better
Yes,
than comparing them to others. I
others.
think, and this
Definitely.
goes for other kids also, because
Definitely.
as you rightly said, every child is very different, and they need to be compared to what they were last 3 months, and then to take the feedback. Comparison definitely is a big, big no for
No.
parents to stop comparing, and even they should stop comparing themselves to others, because in their career journey they are comparing, and the child is also seeing that comparison, and that needs to also be stopped at the level of children where you're comparing them to other kids. So
Definitely.
it could be as small as, oh, she dances better than
Hmm.
you, or why can't you dance like this, as small as this. It's okay. Every child is different. But yes, I don't know
So
how.
I here my suggestion is, most of the parents always, come up with my he or she does this, my child doesn't do this. Try to identify the strength of your child, and try to, make the child confident for his or her strength.
Oh, so many things. And I think still I have so many questions to ask you. The last piece, still I have one more, is before I ask the last question, is
Mhm.
from an institution point, we talked about school, students, we talked about parents, but
Mhm.
as an institution, you see, we did talk about there are changes happening. Is there something which you think, or an advice which you want every school to have now?
The advice has already come. I'm happy about it, because and the most of the things have been covered in New Education Policy
Okay.
2020,
Mm.
and if that is implemented, that is going to make a great difference. And the educational institutions have to understand that, knowledge transfer and lecture mode is not going to work.
Mm.
And now educational institutions are not the only source of information and knowledge. There are multiple sources available, and children and students, if, once they start, they are able to read and understand and comprehend, they themselves go to different sources, and they try to learn, try to go into depth. So my advice is, like, try to focus on holistic development, try to be a partner.
Mhm.
Like, gone are the days when you say that, because I'm a teacher, I'm saying so, this is correct. Because you don't know everything, and you should also try to reinvent yourself, and you should try to be a lifelong learner, because that is also important.
Well said, Anjali. If all the three aspects are being taken care of, the kids, the students in general, and all age group, parents, and the institution, to quite an extent we would solve at least some major milestones, and especially post covid, as you rightly mentioned, they definitely need to be checked. And I think this is for all listeners, all kids who are born during covid time, have that extra attention to them, just to see is the development going right for each of them. While we are on talking about this, so one key takeaway for each of them, especially the parents, one key takeaway you would like to tell parents, and one key takeaway for students.
Mhm.
Uh,
My suggestion for parents is do not take life so seriously. Pause, reflect, and give time to whatever time you can give to your children. Be connected, listen to them, and be there. Let them fail, let them experiment. And to children, I would like to say that life is a journey, and you are here with a purpose.
mm,
You will not have everything figured out. Like it's okay to feel overwhelmed, and when you feel overwhelmed, try to reflect and think what is making you feel like that, and what is in your hand, and then give your best. So that is what they need to do. And life is a journey, and they should make try and make memories.
yes, beautifully said. Thank you, Anjali. I have still so many questions to ask, but the watch definitely is asking us to stop here. So thank you for being our guest today. This 12th episode of In Me was very different. It talks about the complication a society is going through. I'm sure many of you are also going through right now. Is there a way to solve it? Is there a way to look at it differently? Do you think that Gen Zs require a different set of support from your end? Because as parents, if we give them a safe environment, they would develop much better than what's happening. And for parents, I would say try your best, if possible, to get the relationship going, because life is not about both of you working and both of you coming tired and not looking at your child. It is required, and maids also do not give all the answers. So see where how you can create that village for them and for yourself. Once you have a child, is this project of 20 years manageable by both of you, even staying separated? That piece also needs to be looked into. So thank you everybody for listening to us. Anjali, thank you. This was so great to understand from your perspective what kind of challenges are coming up, and I'm sure this benefits everybody. So In Me, the podcast for everyone.
Thank you, Nirupama. It was wonderful being here on your podcast, and I'm grateful for this opportunity where we talked about, the topics which is very close to my heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjali. This was absolutely great having you here on our podcast, In Me. So, thank you, listeners, and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.